Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020, and it's time for the Great American Bash 2004, live from Charlotte, North Carolina, in front of a sold-out crowd of a little over 18,000 people, as we've got a whole lot of big matches, and we start with our opening video, focusing on three of those matches: the Goldberg Booker World Title match, the Vampiro Mesias match, where either Vampiro will control Mesias or Vampiro will leave WCW, or the RVD Helms basically default number one contendership match. And that opening video, which goes about 4 minutes, gets an 85. And then we start out with our opening Cruiserweight championship match between Elix defending the title against Air Paris, the former member, well, still current member of Air Raid, but both on their singles careers at the moment. And it's a high spot match. Both men, lots of flips, tope con helos, moonsaults, springboards, all that fun stuff. But unfortunately for Air Paris, Elix he may have come out sort of nowhere to win the Cruiserweight title originally, but tonight he's just a little bit better than Air Paris, as Paris goes for a big brainbuster late in the match. Air Paris gets out of it, and eventually he's able to hit his finisher, the overdrive, to get the pinfall victory here in the open air. As in a decent match, Elix defeats Air Paris in 10:45 pinfall with the overdrive, as Skipper makes defense number one of his Cruiserweight title. This gets a 71, a little better than I actually expected, as Air Paris gets a 73, Elix gets a 53, but we're building him up, and a solid win for Skipper, as he celebrates with the Cruiserweight title to a 43. Fun times. Next up, we've got our US title match, as it looked like last month Tajiri was going to win the title from Keenan Sharpe, but the Sharpe basically got DQ'd on purpose to keep the title. But now it's Tajiri, it's Sharpe one more time, and this time basically Sharpe does his best to fight back, but Tajiri is a man on a mission, and you don't want to, again, as Eric Bischoff said, you don't want to piss off a guy who can spit mist, but Tajiri doesn't even use the mist at the end here. He just kicks the hell out of Sharpe. Like, Sharpe tries to fight back with his Muay Thai style kicks and tries to bring Tajiri into submissions, but unfortunately, Tajiri is, frankly, one of the more underrated workers on the roster, and at the end, he's just a little bit better than Sharpe. Sharpe goes for a hanging ET late. Tajiri gets out of it. Tajiri hits a few big kicks, hits the brainbuster, and then gets the pinfall victory over Keenan Sharpe to win the United States title. As in a decent match, we gets a 76. Tajiri defeats Keenan Sharpe in 13:30 by a pinfall of the brainbuster. This gets the US title. 76 overall, like I said. Tajiri gets a 65. Sharpe gets a 74. Big win for Tajiri. And, backstage-wise, Sharpe has had a solid run with the US title, but have to put a babyface over at some point. And this gives Tajiri something solid to work from as we move forward. But a big win for Tajiri, as he gets the huge win here, and celebrates with the US title, spits the mist to the ears of the crowd to 74. Next up, we have a match that was, sort of created out of nowhere, as Monty Brown versus Dustin Rhodes. The old veteran Dustin Rhodes has been with WCW for a long time, back and forth, especially his last run here for the last couple of years. He, was involved in some big feuds, eventually, tag team with Finley for a while. But now, as Monty Brown tries to rise to the top, Dustin Rhodes is here as a gatekeeper to see if Monty Brown is good enough here in WCW to rise to the top. And let's see what happens here. As well, guess what? Dustin Rhodes does not do enough. He gets some brawling in, he gets some punches, he maybe even hits a big lariat or a bulldog, but Monty Brown basically pops out of it, and he just destroys Dustin Rhodes at the end. Pounce right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3, 49. Let's see here. Monty got 68, Dustin got 61. I'm going to guess it was a short, right? Oh, poor momentum. And, is that really it? Also, yeah, I'm going to guess. Oh, it was short. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. But yeah, just a huge win for Monty Brown, as he gets a big win over a WCW legend, as Monty gets 68, like I said, Dustin gets 61, and post-match, Monty Brown and his confidant Stevie Ray celebrate to a 62. So, a strong start for Monty Brown as he continues to roll over the competition here in World Championship Wrestling. We continue on to the next match, which I guess was never really made a huge point of the feud going on, but it was sort of assumed, as it's Sean O'Haire versus Morningstar one more time. And this goes basically like almost every other Shawn O'Haire versus Morningstar match, as they've had a couple so far here in WCW. Morningstar tries to use some cheating ways, some quick attacks, springboards, quick kicks, chops, flying maneuvers to keep O'Haire off balance. But O'Haire fights back with his brawling, some big suplexes, a big lariat to keep Morningstar down. Morningstar fights back, eventually hits his big moonsault, gets a near fall, goes for the angel wings. O'Haire fights out of it. But in the end, Shawn O'Haire, proves once again he is the future shock of professional wrestling here in World Championship Wrestling, as he, Morningstar tries to go for another moonsault, or gets his knees up, and from there, it's just time for Widowmaker, as in a superb match which gets an 80. Shawn O'Haire defeats Morningstar in 14:33 by pinfall with the Widowmaker, right in the middle of the ring, nowhere for Morningstar to go, 1, 2, 3. As he picks up the victory, let's see, was there anything that really hurt it? Okay, little penalty for stamina for O'Haire. But yeah, another big win for O'Haire as he continues on his path of revenge against Deadpool. And O'Haire celebrates to a 71. Fun times. Now it's time for the big tag title match between, Reno and Cash, Silver City Rollers of the Helms Legacy, Alex Wright and Chavo Guerrero, and Jamie Knoble and Ebony Sable. And this is basically just a complete, bit of car crash fun from beginning to end, as they just fight all over. Honestly, what happens a lot here is Wright and Cash do their best to go after, to try to get the pinfalls, but Knoble messes with them. Ebony Sable comes in, basically hits big spots on everybody. There's a big man showdown between Reno and Ebony Sable. All the other 4 smaller members of the various teams are down, and they brawl a bit. But then it's short because, Ebony Sable is not that good yet, and neither is Reno. But eventually, what actually happens is Wright and Guerrero and Knoble and Ebony fight more than they try to get actually a pinfall win over each other, or just a pinfall at all to win the tag titles. And that allows, after a couple big spots, including a Cash cradle pile driver for a near fall, Chavo going up top for a frog splash to break up a pin, Sable hitting a few big suplexes, Knoble trying to lock in a guillotine choke, but getting, somebody coming and breaking it up, and even Alex Wright going for big falls. But in the end, it's a big chaos right near the end. And unfortunately for the other 2 members of the team, other 2 teams, the Silver City Rollers pick up the win between Rey and Chavo and Jamie Knoble and Ebony Sable in 15:26. It was an elimination match, but basically what happens here is Reno gets the big win over Chavo Guerrero right in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, as they defend the tag titles with their third defense. This gets an 80. Cash gets a 77. Reno gets a 77. Chavo gets a 72. Alex Wright gets a 78. Ebony Sable gets a 35. And Jamie Knoble gets an 84. A big win for the Silver City Rollers. In post-match, they basically, walk away with the titles celebrating, along with, Cash's squeeze Amber O'Neal. Well, the other two teams sort of recover, and then they just go after each other before WCW officials run into the ring and try to break things up. And that should be Chavo Guerrero, not Charles Robinson. Let's pretend it's Charles Robinson breaking things up, as Chavo Guerrero's down on the ground. Sure, let's go with that. Gotta double check things. Anyway, this gets to 60. Fun little thing, as the feud between these 2 teams look like it must continue, and the Silver City Rollers will have another opponent in the future for their tag team titles. Next up, it's a match that was sort of built up a little oddly, as basically AJ Styles kept on getting wins. Rey Mysterio is a little depressed over his recent lack of success, and now Rey still wants to prove himself to be one of the best wrestlers in the world against one of the best wrestlers of the future as he takes on AJ Styles. And, it's AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio Jr. in 2004, so it's just lots of awesome moves, AJ getting out of stuff, Rey Jr. getting out of stuff, huge top rope Frankensteiners from both men, Rey diving, AJ doing his own insane Fosbury flop dives, Styles going for the Styles Clash a bunch of times, but Rey Jr. getting out of it, Rey Jr. hitting the big bulldog off the top and then going for a big spike Frankensteiner, but AJ reverting to a powerbomb, both men brawling to the outside, big suplexes by Styles on Rey because he gets to play Power Jr. for a bit, but Rey fighting back. But Rey goes for his springboard Hurricanrana from the top, but AJ grabs him, powerbomb from the top rope, then rolls through, hooks him in, Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. And both had superb wrestling and great heat. AJ Styles defeats Rey Mysterio Jr. in, frankly, probably the biggest win of his career in 1342 by pinfall. The Styles Clash. Let's get an 83 overall. AJ gets an 84. Rey gets an 85. I'm going to guess, let's see here. Yeah, lack of heat, and it's a face-face match, so yeah. And after the match, AJ's celebrating. Rey's still looks unhappy in the ring, and he turns towards AJ, and there's a quick stare down before Rey extends his hand, and the two babyfaces shake hands, and everybody's happy as, Rey raises AJ's hands, basically endorsing him as seemingly the future of this business, as this gets a 71. Fun stuff. And now it's time for what, is just outside of the level of the main event match, as it's time for the huge tag team tornado match between Ric Flair and Kanyon taking on Jeff Jarrett and Mark Jindrak, and this is just a complete and utter brawl from start to finish. Like, it's a tag team tornado match, so basically things break down to basically it's Flair and Jarrett for most of the match versus Jindrak and Kanyon. Kanyon, it's Flair and Jarrett in the ring. Well, Kanyon and Jarrett fight to the outside, but both members of both teams eventually fight to the outside. We've got to the ringside, then we go to the back, through the catering area, up into the concourse. There's, in the women's bathroom spot, Jarrett throws Flair into there. They fight in. Somebody probably takes a dunk in a toilet at some point. Fight back towards the ring. Near the end, Kanyon has to fight off both Jindrak and Jarrett as Flair is down. Flair comes back, House of Fire though. And back near the ring, in the end, Jarrett and Flair basically take each other out. Let's just say through a table spot where Flair actually suplexes Jarrett through a table at ringside. But Canyon's able to grab Jarrett, and drop him with a flatliner right in the middle of the ring and get the 1, 2, 3 in the tag team tornado match, which gets a 90. Wow, okay. That's kind of awesome. And in a superb match, Ric Flair and Kanyon defeat Jeff Jarrett and Mark Jindrak in 1305 when Kanyon pinned Mark Jindrak with the Kanyon cutter. We'll just say the flatliner still. This gets a 90, like I said. Mark Jindrak gets a 70. Jeff Jarrett gets a 91. Kanyon gets a 90, and Ric Flair gets an 81. And it looks like, Flair and Kanyon finally have their big win over, the chosen few in the former Horseman member Jeff Jarrett and the TV champion Mark Jindrak, when out of nowhere, somebody comes in the ring and bashes Kanyon from behind with a chair shot. Then as Flair gets up, he drills him with a chair shot as well. As the announcers announce a surprise, that's simply Johnny Devine, who made his debut in World Championship Wrestling a couple weeks ago. And then after knocking down both Flair and Kanyon, he walks over to Jarrett and Jindrak, and all three men hug. And it looks like we have a new member of the chosen few in the form of simply Johnny Devine. So this gets 71. And it looks like this feud still isn't over. But yeah, basically, Ray Gordy got injured for like a year. So chosen few needed a cruiserweight. Johnny finds a decent heel, so there we go. But yeah, fun stuff. And that was actually a lot better than I expected, because I was like, Flair's getting old, Jindrak, and you never know with Kanyon or Jarrett. But yeah, really good stuff. Really fun, good stuff. And then we move forward. It's time for our women's title match, as now two women, Gail Kim and Angel Foxx, are now getting much different reactions from the crowd than they did last time they faced off. But this is another solid match. Angel Foxx does some cheating, some bitchy heel moves, but she's working towards that Angel stop finisher, attacking Gail Kim's neck and her head basically. Lots of kicks to the head, foot stomps, DDTs, other moves. But Gail Kim fights back with her kicks, big suplexes, a big springboard, senton, suplexes, and in the end, Gail Kim's, you could argue she's the best women's wrestler in the world right now, as she's able to get up to the top rope and drill Angel Foxx with the Eat Defeat from the top and get the pinfall victory 1, 2, 3, as she makes defense number 1 of her women's world title, as this gets a 66, Kim gets a 59, Angel Foxx gets a 56, and a huge win for Gail Kim, as she celebrates afterwards to a 61. Fun times. And now we're to our big three main events. First up, it's Vampiro versus Mesias. And this is just an absolute fight right from the start. Like this, no fancy, no collar and elbow, but really not a whole bunch of wrestling moves. This is just Vampiro fighting for his absolute life, as Mesias is a force of nature, throwing him around. But, Vampiro, to his credit, refuses to stay down. He fights back. He comes in there with chair shots. He finds a fire extinguisher. He drills. He finds him single porcanes underneath. He hits him with roundhouses kicks. He finds He finds a baseball bat. Like, he does everything he can to fight against Mesias, but Mesias just keeps on coming. And this match, eventually spills to the outside. It goes back to the backstage area. It comes through as, even though it's not officially a no DQ, no count match, this is a battle for Vampiro's future, so the ref is being very lenient, and eventually comes back into the ring. Vampiro actually hits a huge, is able to get a huge, runs off the, ring apron onto Mesias with a chair, forces Mesias back, and then attacks him again on the ramp, hitting the nail in the coffin on the ramp. But he tries to get Mesias in and hit a move off the top to get the victory, but Mesias kicks out hugely at 2. And from there, Vampiro tries to fight back, but he goes for a chair shot. Mesias grabs it, throws it away, and from there, it's just over. As Mesias does his best. Vampiro does his best, but Mesias is an unstoppable monster that really only a few have really even got a pinfall victory on. In the end, Vampiro just can't do enough. As Mesias, after 15 minutes, defeats Vampiro in 15:30 with the Crucifix Powerbomb right in the middle of the ring. No Morningstar interference, no bullshit, just Mesias is Mesias. And he gets the pinfall victory here. This gets an 87, Vampiro gets an 81, Mesias gets an 87. And yeah, and low morale from Vampiro and stamina, but what can you do? But Mesias gets a huge one here as 87, and Vampiro is now gone from WCW. It looks like Morningstar then comes out. It looks like they're going to get their final victory on Vampiro. But then the lights go out, some weird buzzing is heard, and then Vampiro is gone, and the lights come back. And this gets 78, and looks like Vampiro is now gone from World Championship Wrestling. And now it's time for our semi-main event, where it must be one fall to a finish. There must be a winner. Rob Van Dam versus Shane Helms. And this is just these guys two going right at each other, Slow build at start as they're, trying to avoid getting surprised. But eventually the bigger moves come out, it's Rob Van Dam, Shane Helms. Eventually some big moves are going to happen. First springboards come out, Helms does his own little brawling and takedowns, and even some submission moves to try to keep RVD grounded. But, he eventually has to bring out the big guns too, hitting basically a gut right suplex, big side suplexes, dives as his own. Eventually hits the big super kick, but Rob Van Dam kicks out at 2. RVD hits the Van Daminator for the first time about 15 minutes in. He then goes up top, goes with a 5-star frog splash, but Shane Helms rolls away. That allows Shane Helms to get up, and then it's super kick time again. But RVD is too near the ropes for the pinfall victory for Helms. So he goes up. Helms actually goes up top himself and goes for sort of a tumbleweed leg drop, but RVD rolls out of the way. Then RVD hits a big backbreaker, goes up top, 5-star frog splash. Shane Helms gets his knees up, and both men are down. They slowly get up. And then, right near the end, Helms goes for another super kick, but RVD gets out of the way. He looks like he's going to hit the Van Daminator, and he does. Then he goes up top. It looks like time for the Van Terminator, but Helms gets out of the way, right near the end. And Helms, Rob Van Dam, took one too many risks. So what happens next? Oh, shit. Oh. Okay. That's actually kind of insanely interesting. So, okay. So actually, no, what happens is already hits the Van Terminator. And so what happens actually is near the end, Shane Helms is going for a dive or something near the top. He hits the guardrail, and there's a brief moment where it looks like both men are down, and it looks like they're actually talking, and then the Van Terminator spot happens. And that means 1, 2, then RVD gets a huge shock win over Shane Helms. So let's get to 77. RVD and Helms gets an 87. So I'm going to guess injury. Yeah, injury, disrupted by injury. And yeah, that's basically it. So this would have probably got like a high 90s. But this kind of screws up my booking. I mean, this also means Helms is probably injured for a while, which also messes up my booking. So, wow. Okay. Um, guess we're getting Booker RVD next. That is not what I booked. Interesting. Okay. Very, very, very interesting. See, this is why this game is actually kind of great. Is weird shit like this can happen. So actually, so I just did some quick rebooking, as basically what happens is Helms is, you know, in the background, taken to the back as RVD celebrates to the cheers of the crowd, as a theme song plays, and he is now a huge victory for him. As yeah, if you can't tell, that was very interesting. Anyway, main event time. Goldberg comes out, ding 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 ding, huge pop. Booker comes out along with Sharmell, huge heel pop, 97, and it's time for our main event. As this is not a technical battle. These are just two guys who want to kick the shit out of each other. And early on, it looks like Booker is, bit off a little more than he could actually chew, taking on Goldberg as Booker just gets crushed early on. Thrown around, suplexes, kicks, and Goldberg even hits the spear early, but before Booker can even go for the jackhammer, Booker rolls out of the ring. Goldberg comes down to fight him, rolls out of the ring to fight him. They fight outside. Booker gets advantage that way, throwing him into the guardrails, throwing him over the table, throwing him back in, working Goldberg's back, working his neck, going after, getting run over the bookend. But eventually Goldberg fights back himself, and it's just, a big brawl. Two men throwing bombs at each other, two big men throwing bombs at each other right in the middle of the ring. Goldberg gets the advantage again, hits the spear, but as he picks up Booker for the jackhammer, Booker, sort of maneuvers himself, so he's able to accidentally kick the ref in the head. That allows Booker to slide out of it as Goldberg goes to look over at the ref. Booker comes in, drills Goldberg with a chair multiple times, but then knows that's coming up. So as Goldberg slowly gets up, scissor kick, then he picks him up right in the middle of the ring, bookend, and then one more time, another bookend, and then after that, referee slowly gets up, and Booker, is able to pin him 1-2-3, and Booker gets the big win over Goldberg in 15-12. This gets an 83, which is disappointing. Let's see, Booker 88, Goldberg 94, not enough selling. Is that really it? Let me see here. Lack of selling and okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, this probably should have been 10 minutes, not 15 minutes, but sometimes you live and learn. But a big win for Booker as, hook by crook, he still gets the huge win over Bill Goldberg to retain the WCW World Championship. And then post-match, to close the show, Booker celebrates with the title and Sharmell on the outside as Goldberg still recovers. And let's see here. 88 overall. Okay, so not one of our awesome mind-blowing shows, but still a very good show. So first, Shane Helms. Shane Helms, I'm sorry, buddy. I am so sorry. So give it a hug. Let's see here. What was actually better than that? Actually, yeah. Kanyon, great performance, and honestly, I mean, it was Rey Mysterio for being okay putting over AJ. So let's see what other news we have, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. And we'll check on we'll see if there's any big popularity changes for our guys and all that other fun stuff, and then we'll go from there. As this loads, as we look up a random Japanese guy, I know mid-2000s Japanese wrestling pretty well, and I have no idea who this guy is. Let's see here. Okay, American Bash, yay! Okay, Shane Helms is injured. That is, I mean, that's nice you're saying that as you're injured, but okay. Let's pull it up, guys. Oh, God. Shane Helms. Okay, 35. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oof. Ooh. Do I want to... kind of want to risk it. I mean, the thing is, like, even if this doubles it, like, my plan for Helms, like, after this, is kind of, okay, this is actually kind of interesting, because this would affect some plans. Okay, I think, sure, let's do the extreme risk. Okay, 2 months. I mean, that's about what I expected. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. He was going to be gone anyway, because, he was either going to be gone or there's another way to do it, so that's unfortunate. Sometimes you do what you do, sometimes you can't. Alright, well, that's unfortunate. If we go to show history, let's see here, just for this thing. Okay, so we got 656,000 buys, plus a lot of viewers, especially in beautiful Japan and Britain, but still, 88. Like, that's still a really good show. Like, not a top tier show, but what can you do? Size wise, as we track our progress, we're slowly getting things more over, including 84s, 82s, 83s. So we'll get there. Early size security, we need achieve big. We need Titanic and 77 in every region and at least 5 game areas. So, okay, Canada, we're not there yet. What? Sorry, I always forget. Was it? We are 77. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Maybe that Wales is hurting us. Japan is definitely 3. Europe's not. Oceania's no. Okay, so yeah, we just need a little bigger and we'll be up to Titanic. But yeah, as a quick check, title champions, Jindrak is still our World TV champion. Tag team champions is still Reno and Cash. World champion is still Booker T. Women's World champion is Gail Kim. US champion is Tajiri. And Cruiserweight champion is Elix for the second time. I guess he won it during the WCW silliness. But yeah, a really big show. Let's see here. Who has more shoes? You're still annoyed, but yeah, because I forgot to put you on Starcade, but whining. Who else is unhappy? Mike Awesome. Is this just because you're annoyed over... Okay, because you're left off American Bash. Well, guess what? Be more over. Let's check out some people. Here. Booker. Let's see here. Look at Booker's popularity. Track progress. Okay. So, I mean, he's getting there. Like, he's one of our top, if not one of our top guys at this point. Goldberg, was he really hurt by that? Let's see here. Survey says not really. Brown. Let's see, where is Monty as far as getting over? Okay, I mean, that actually really helped. Like, he's actually ready to have some actually fun matches. Anybody else? Let's see here. Rob Van Dam. I mean, Van Dam is, like, probably one of our top baby faces. We sometimes don't feel like, yeah, I mean, especially now. And how did that hurt James? A lot. Let's see here. Not really, no. I mean, yeah, this is really going to because this next couple one's kind of important in my booking, but oh well. Just have to play with it anyway. As we look at storylines, Angel Boxeo Kim's at a 62, Monty Brown's is at a 52, Booker Goldberg's at an 83, Tag Titles at a 74, Darkness Evolving is at a 80, interesting. Horseman M. Terrace is at an 87, AJ Ray's at an 80, RVD Helms at a 77, Imperial Mesias is at an 82, and Keenan Tajiri is at a 76. If we look at our creative, we've got Goldberg, RVD, Jeff Hardy, who I didn't even use this month, Eddie, and Kanyon. Next big things is Angel Foxx, Hot Prospects, Angel Foxx, Teddy Hart, Jordan Cole, Keenan Sharpe, Talk to Talk, Jarrett, Booker, Flair, Kanyon, Showstoppers, Who Do You Expect, Who's Hot, RVD, Messias, Jarrett, Kanyon, Goldberg. So there you go. There was some spoilers, but if you're watching this late in the video, you kind of deserve some spoilers. But yeah, I mean, that's our show. Not our... honestly, let me look at last year's Great American Bash real quick, just so I don't forget. Was that a better show than that one? Let's just see. Oh, yeah, because it was Vampiro, RVD. We had O'Hare Flair, which was a 92. Helms, yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, our Helms getting injured and sort of the not great world title match sort of hurt dinged us. But, not the end of the world. Stuff happens. As now we're on the road to Bash at the Beach, which I guess is going to be Booker versus RVD for the title. I mean, RVD just got the big win, so who knows? But, that's it for now. So if you enjoy this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below when you're enjoying, not enjoying, and subscribe to the channel for lots of other TW 2020 content. But that's it for now, and talk to you later. Adios.